Nothing said on the Touchgrass podcast is a recommendation to buy or sell any investments or products. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and the views expressed by anyone on the show are solely their opinions only, not financial advice or necessarily the views of the Touchgrass podcast. Our hosts, guests, and the Touchgrass podcast team may hold positions in the companies, funds, or projects discussed. Enjoy the show.
GM everyone, welcome back to another episode of Touchgrass Podcast. Today we have Pierre, a trader I follow very closely and I've worked with as well. He's famous for calling MSTR to $1,000 for I don't know for a couple of years now, and I always wondered like why is this guy keeps he's so bullish even after so much has happened, and his conviction and strategy and what Saylor is doing. So I thought of getting him on and talk about some of the recent stuff, what Saylor has done with Stretch and his recent sales. But yeah, excited for this one. Welcome to the show, Pia. How are you?
Thanks, man. I like your logo a lot. I like the Touchgrass logo a lot. A human made that, right? That's not AI.
No, no, no.
I can tell. It's really good.
Thank you, sir. But yeah, why don't we start with when did you first discover MicroStrategy and what caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, like many people, I first bought MicroStrategy in my retirement accounts, like 401k IRA accounts, because when MicroStrategy started buying Bitcoin in late 2020, there was no like good way to get Bitcoin exposure. There was the GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, but there were layers of issues with that in terms of like the way that that ETF traded or that trust traded, versus how Bitcoin traded. So MSTR became the most interesting way to get exposure. So I got exposure through my retirement accounts. And then also my mom gave me control of her capital before the Bitcoin ETF was announced in what would that be, early 2023 or something. And the only way to get meaningful Bitcoin exposure in the stock market at that time was MSTR or like Coinbase, kind of. You're just sort of getting industry exposure through Coinbase. And so we bought MSTR there too. And obviously the price went up like a lot. And generally people take notice when the price goes up a lot, right? So if you look at the run from before the ETF came out through all-time high, there was a stock split, right? So there was like a $1,600 something stock split on MSTR, went down to 150, and then at three and a half, 4x from there to 540. So it was quite the run on in that previous bull market. And right now we're bottoming. I don't know if 85 or $83 was the bottom that we saw in the past few weeks. Maybe it goes to 75, maybe it goes to 60 or 50 in the next couple months. It better go there quick, because every day that goes by is another day towards the bull market. So if you're trying to get this thing to go down, you better get it down there quick. And you know what happens after it bottoms? What happens after it bottoms? And you're muted.
I mean, it trips. I mean, it's like the best proxy kind of bet to Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and it's obviously more volatile than Bitcoin. But one thing I want to ask is that like is that how you view it? Like it's similar to in a way where TradFi people want to like were betting on Coinbase a few cycles ago instead of just buying Bitcoin. Is that how you were kind of building your conviction in it?
Uh, I mean, now that I understand it, my position is just that this is amplified Bitcoin exposure. So like, let's say you're a huge Bitcoin guy like I am, and you like have Bitcoin and you love Bitcoin and yada, yada, yada. If you're like, well, I want like high octane Bitcoin exposure through a really great company, well, I got one for you. There's no other company offering this. It's a monopoly. There's a single company. Now there's Strive, a competitor. It's much smaller. I bought Leaps on Strive. I think Strive is very good for buying cheap Leaps,
Yeah.
long dated options, call options. I think that's really great. But in terms of just like spot amplified Bitcoin exposure, can't beat MSTR, man.
Yeah. I'm not as bullish as you, but I'm at least not as bearish as the timeline says it's like how they kind of always try to doom post. But one thing I kind of feel is have kind of understood about my strategy is that it would probably not gotten this big if it was not for Sailor. If it was someone else as the face of that company, I don't think it would have gotten this big. Do you think, like, what kind of role do you think he played in getting this much? Like, he raised what, 40, 45 billion? That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's very crazy. So, I mean, dude, like this is something, your question is really good because most people like don't talk about this. People on Twitter basically just have the whole thing so wrong. It's like, it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. And then they act like they're right because the price went down. It's like, dude, the price was going to go down. This is the bear market. It's amplified Bitcoin. The price is going to go down. Congratulations. The price of Bitcoin went down too. Is Bitcoin bad? Is Bitcoin a worse version of Bitcoin than it was a year ago when it was 126K? Is it way worse now? So on your question about Michael Saylor is like effectively the perfect individual to be doing this. And that sort of makes sense when you think about it. So Michael Saylor has been running the company MicroStrategy for like, I think 30 years, basically like 30 plus years. It's one of the longest standing. He was one of the longest standing public tech company CEOs. Now he's the chairman of the board, so he's not the CEO anymore, but that's like unnecessary detail.
Yeah.
Saylor's company was a really big deal in like 1998, 1999. He was effectively at the same plane as the Microsofts, the Googles of the world at that time. Apple, I think his company maybe actually was worth more than Apple during that period of time. And then the dot-com bubble burst, and his company was actually one of the companies that was hit the hardest. It went down 99% during the dot-com bubble. And Amazon and Google, those companies, they ended up becoming Mag 7 tech giants. And that's what Saylor wanted, but he wasn't able to accomplish that. And I mean, people on Twitter will say like he failed, his company was failing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, not becoming one of the 7 biggest companies in the history of the world is not a failure. That's like a really hard thing to do. You have to get lucky to make that happen. If you ask Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, he says, you can't build NVIDIA today. You just can't. And he's right. He's literally right, right? So everything has to go right to get to that level. And now the funny thing is, Saylor gets a second act, and so real quick, and I don't want to rant too long about this, but I want to give people context because it's such a good question that nobody ever talks about, that I think that this is very important context. Saylor spent the next couple decades after the dot-com bust trying to figure out how to make his company Microsoft and make it, that good, and investing in different things and trying different things and deploying capital into different strategies, and nothing worked. And he worked as hard as he possibly could. And for a guy that's a psycho and a genius and doesn't have a family, chooses to not get married, not have kids because he's so obsessed with work, I can only imagine how hard he went. And I can only imagine how discouraging it is to not be able to succeed at the level that you want to, given all of that effort and given all that expenditure, everything like that, right? Then when 2020 comes, the government shuts everything down. His company can't go into the office anymore in Virginia. They were a 100% in-office company. They're a 100% in-office company now. But Amazon was allowed to work. And, all these digital monopolies like Facebook and Google were allowed to work. And on top of that, they started poaching employees out of his company because now remote work is mainstream. So even though Amazon's in Seattle, Microsoft's in Seattle, Facebook's in NorCal, they could poach people from his company while he wasn't allowed to have his company go into work. So he's basically defeated here. He's got to make a call. Like, should I just retire at this point and effectively give up on his dream of having a Mag 7 company and being that guy? Or do I find something new? And so even though he was a billionaire investor, he made $20 million as a public company CEO over like 10, 20 years. But that's actually not even that much money when you think about it, being a public company CEO. Public company CEOs of big companies now make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. So he had 20 million, but then he invested in those major tech companies. He had the foresight. He predicted that mobile was going to be as big as it was. He predicted that Apple and these other companies were going to be so big. And he essentially turned the 20 million into at least a half a billion, toward $1 billion. So he's independently wealthy through investing. So he understands investing. He understands economics. He's participated in markets. It's a pretty unique fit for Bitcoin. And even though he was worth so much money, he felt like his back was against the wall, given his framework in his mind, right? When I first started buying Bitcoin, I felt like my back was against the wall because I only had $20,000 to my name. I just turned 30. I thought I was going to lose my job because of the the COVID disaster. I thought I was going to get laid off, and I was living in New York City paying high rent and not able to do anything because of COVID, right? So my back was against the wall in a much different way than his was. But he felt like his back was against the wall the same way. And that's when he found Bitcoin. So it sort of takes that person to find Bitcoin versus the person that lives in Northern California and has a extremely high paying job at Google. He doesn't really need Bitcoin in the same way. He's not desperate. He's worth millions of dollars as an individual. He owns a house in Palo Alto. The house has gone up 50% over the past 3 or 4 years in value. So Saylor really is the most uniquely purpose-built person to do this with Bitcoin. And as a result, he's hyper aggressive about it, man. He won't get distracted at all. He's been there. He's gotten distracted. He's tried to make different things work for decades. He spent money on things. All he does is he focuses on Bitcoin and their Bitcoin strategy. He won't do anything else. He's not going to acquire some other company. He's not going to do anything. He's hyper aggressive. And that level of aggression created a system or an environment where he bought maybe too much Bitcoin too fast. What was the consequence? The price of Stretch went down. Who cares? I don't care.
Yeah.
People on crypto Twitter care, but I don't care. And the people on crypto Twitter don't own any MicroStrategy or any Stretch, so it doesn't even matter.
I think people don't see the person behind the AI slop. Maybe
Yeah.
everyone sees those AI ads and kinds of makes up what is this guy doing? Is he gone crazy and stuff? Uh, but yeah, I mean, you can see by when you're kind of telling that story, you can see why this guy is so unfazed, even if so much of stuff happened over the last 6 or 8 months, because he was literally down 99.9999%. I don't know, 30 years back.
Well,
Uh,
and real quick on that, he's also unfazed because nothing actually happened except the price went down. That's like the big thing that crypto Twitter's missing is they're just pointing to the price, like the price, it's going down. It's so bad that the price is going down. But nothing happened to the company. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm an investor
yeah.
in the company Open Door. I don't know if you ever heard of Open Door. It's a tech
Yep.
company.
Yep.
When the price went down from $11 to $4, I was like, okay, but nothing actually bad happened to the company. In fact, they got the new CEO. He's hiring a bunch of really good people. They're shipping updates. If anything, the company's gotten better while the price went down. If the CEO leaves today, if the new CEO of Open Door says, I'm out, I'm leaving today, then I'll be like, okay, that's bad. Something bad happened to the company. But the price of the stock going down doesn't have anything to do with the company unless something bad actually happened, and nothing bad happened with MicroStrategy. Nothing.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of reasoning I came up with is that people have found some target for the bear market. Like every time we want someone to latch on to our pain, where we are directing our pain to someone, and if this someone is so public, like Saylor every day on Twitter, it just kind of becomes obvious kind of target for everyone to blame every bad thing on him,
Yeah.
where everything kind of the second order of that keeps happening, and he's getting blamed. And I mean, there is some blame. I mean, I have to say, right? Like the way he bought, and every time he just let's dive into that, right? What did he do wrong in your opinion? Like, or let's say over the last 6 months, anything where you're like, why did they do that? Any kind of reaction you had like that? No,
No.
nothing. Like when
What
there
did
was
he do
last
wrong? They
when
they
there
have
was,
a hyper aggressive strategy, hyper aggressive, like punch you in the face aggressive strategy to get Bitcoin, and they've been executing it. And then the market decided that it wanted more cash reserves for Stretch. That's what happened. And so he can't predict the future. He can't
yeah.
know that that's exactly what the market wants. So as you see the market wants, and go, okay, cool, let's get more cash. It would be a mistake if now he just refused to get more cash, but he hasn't. He's going to get more cash. Cool. All right, done. No problem.
No, what I'm saying is like when he released the product and everyone was advertising it as guaranteed yield, not guaranteed, but your yield is guaranteed in a way where if you have a claim on it, we will give you. But the way they were kind of pushing it aggressively, and they were buying 20, 30,000 a week, I think a couple months back. So when that was happening, I mean, it was pretty obvious the day that announcement was made. This is not sustainable, and the yields 12% is just not sustainable. They will be able to game it, and we have seen it, right? Like people were just looping, and finally the unwind has happened. But didn't you think that this thing, whole thing, was like unsustainable in a way, or is it just maybe short-term pain, but eventually it'll work out?
No, it's hyper sustainable. He's paying the dividends. The yield is 1,000% sustainable. The price is just down $15. That's it. It's just down 15%. It won't be down 15% forever. It's okay. It's fine. The stuff he communicated, it is conceptually correct. And he's like a genius guy, and he's like sees it, and he's like, okay, this is conceptually correct. He is right about that. Right now, we're going through like this stress test period where the price is down $15. That's what's happening. There's nothing else
Yeah.
bad happening. The price is down $15, and they are paying the dividend. Now they're paying the dividend twice a month. It's not even monthly anymore. It's twice a month now. So it's more frequent than it ever was. And they're
Yeah.
like, yep, dividend paid, no problem, no
But
issue at
don't
all.
you think like but don't you think like once this happens, it kind of the trust, the confidence in the boomers who are chasing that yield will be like, "Oh, okay, what happened? I just lost 25% of not just the yield, where I'm not only not getting the yield, but I'm lost the value of the stock that I was owning, the preferred stock." Don't you think they won't come back again? Even if this repegs?
I don't even know how many people like that were even in the stock. I think that most people that are in stretch are Bitcoiners. I find it hard to believe. I think of over time, the idea is to change that investor profile and to get the people that you're talking about. But the thing's only been out for a year. It's poorly rated right now. Nobody even knows what MSTR is. Nobody knows what the preferreds are like in the world. I think it's still a very niche thing. That's why you can benefit from it so much. You can buy it at $85 right now. It will go to $100 again, and you will collect a twice per month 12% annualized dividend every single month, 2 times. It's a
But
crazy good
there is
opportunity.
Do you think like because this argument everyone has made, but this is not a stable coin. There is no need for it to trade back to 100. It can just stay here as long as it wants until maybe Bitcoin price goes up. Is that like you have to wait this out, or is there a mechanism that's currently in place where the repeg happens faster than people think, or is it just very time dependent?
He can they can raise the interest rate, which they just did by 50 basis points from 11 and a half to 12. A lot of people are
Well,
calling for another 50 basis point raise to 12 and a half, but there's no indicator yet. I mean, there's no rush. There's no rush to do this. It's still doing what it's supposed to do. It's just down $15. And then the other thing that they announced is that they can buy it back. So they may buy it back to send it closer to 100 or all the way to 100. So there's a couple mechanics, but there's kind of like not that crazy of a rush to do it because it's gonna be okay. So it's like the people that are holding it now and the people that are buying it now understand what it is. They understand what's going to happen with it. They understand where it's going to go. So let's just see what happens.
do you think changing it from monthly to now bi-weekly, maybe in the future weekly dividends, does that kind of impact the interest in any way? Or like how does it change from monthly from once one paying it one time to twice a month now, and maybe it'll be weekly ones? How does that change in terms of the STRC and how it's being priced?
I think it makes it better because he released a bunch of preferred equities before STRC, right? He released Strike and he released Strife, sorry,
Sorry.
Strife,
STRF.
STRIFE, yeah, and and Stride, STRIDE,
Yeah.
and so he released those, and those were quarterly, and there was demand, but there wasn't really that much demand, and then
You don't tap
Stretch.
into it. Yeah.
Right. And then Stretch came out and everyone was like, whoa, everybody loved Stretch so much because it was monthly. Now it's twice per month, which is even more attractive. I think getting people capital frequently is a good idea. I actually do think that. I don't know if strategy is ready to move to every week, but twice per month is a great step forward. It's like a paycheck, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. if there was one thing you could change about strategy, what would it be right now?
In theory, the theoretical thing would be for the traditional business, the business intelligence software business, if that business, for whatever reason, just started to absolutely crush, like if that business became just a beast of a business that was spitting out an insane amount of cash, that'd be good because then there would just be more money to buy Bitcoin. But I just don't know if Saylor is going to want to invest in that thing at this point. I just don't know.
Yeah, I thought you would say managing their execution price and
Managing
not
what?
top blasting. Managing their execution price every week and not top blasting it. But I think he has gotten better at it. He has gotten better at it.
I don't even, that just like doesn't even matter. Like people that comment on that are such like crypto trader people that have like no money. It's like that stuff doesn't even matter. The idea, his goal is to get 2 million Bitcoin over the next like 15 years. That's the goal. He doesn't care if he buys it at like 70K versus 62K. He does not care about that at all. I don't even think that factors into his brain at any point because it literally doesn't matter. The goal is 2 million Bitcoin over the next 15 years.
But don't you think the perception that sense is this guy is careless and is not as efficient as he could be? Because he could have done a lot of his selling or buying or whatever, like about 100, or like start buying at 100 or buy it when it is at 80s or 60s or whatever. Like, don't you think that kind of the perception that builds is bad?
No, because I think the people that actually care about that are completely inconsequential. I really think that that's like crypto Twitter people that don't
Okay.
have any impact on anything. And I think that the goal is net Bitcoin increase. That's the goal. So
Yeah.
you have to buy Bitcoin to do that. And like, it's not, it wouldn't be good for him to be like, we just raised cash. We didn't buy any Bitcoin. It's like, dude, you got to buy the Bitcoin. That's like the goal, you know?
Got it. Do you think other DATs? I know that Bitmine has kind of done their own yield. They're kind of tapping into that and making it more like an offering. Do you think other DATs can follow what strategy is doing? Can anyone replicate successfully?
Yeah, if they just do it with Bitcoin, like Strive is doing it, like that's the way to do it, is to do it with Bitcoin. It's you're just the orders of magnitude of risk that you're taking on if you use any other crypto asset is just this insane amount of risk, like crazy risk. If someone's held Ethereum for 6 years, it's like, wow, like you took on so much extra risk because you thought that this thing was going to outperform Bitcoin, when in reality, what you could have done is just do MicroStrategy to accomplish exactly what you want to accomplish, which is like an amplified Bitcoin performance in terms of price. So I just think doing it with other stuff is like really risky. Yeah, I think Tom Lee just did it like so he could make money like from his bonuses and stuff. And they all did that because it was a trend because of the success of MicroStrategy. It literally happened right after MicroStrategy's all-time high.
Yeah, I think we have to kind of highlight what the hyperliquid guys are doing, and they're accumulating, and they kind of manage it more like private wealth management, how they do it, and they always have cash on hand, and they're very strategic in their bias and how they're doing it. But the thing that I've noticed is, I think it's been like more than a month now, where their NAV is they're not able to tap into more shares to kind of raise cash and buy more hype. So I think that's very I don't know what will happen, because you would expect that with this thing hype being at all time highs, the DAT would perform so much better than it has.
Yeah. I mean, because like, what even are those DATs? Like, I just don't even know what those are. Like, those don't need to exist. Like, you're already taking on an insane amount of risk when you just buy Hyperliquid, in the sense that you're effectively buying some like this like decentralized tech security. And yeah, that software product is crushing and that company is crushing. But when I buy the token, I don't have equity in the company. We're just so early with this that it's unclear how these things relate to each other. We're going to need like a 25-year history of this stuff to be able to draw any conclusions on what this is and what it means and stuff like that. And crypto people
Yeah.
just don't think about that at all. Um, MicroStrategy is a publicly traded United States company that's been in business for 30 years that is effectively repackaging Bitcoin into different financial instruments to, get to investors through TradFi. That's what MicroStrategy is doing. I don't know what BitMine is doing. I know that Tom Lee made a lot of money, and I know that people that were like in the funding round or whatever of BitMine made a lot of money, but I don't really know anything else about it. Anytime you do the crypto stuff, the people that make the most money are the people that are involved in the launch. That's literally like Solana was made so the people that launched it could make money.
Yeah.
That's why it was made.
Yeah. Agree. Uh, Finally, one last question, Bio. You always, I mentioned at the start of the show, $1,000 MSTR.
Mm-hmm.
What should happen for that? Is it just Bitcoin going to all-time highs and we'll see it? Is it as simple as that? But what's the case for that?
It's just simple math, man. It's how much Bitcoin does MSTR have? What's the price of Bitcoin? And what's the MNAV, the multiple of net asset value that MSTR common stock is trading at? And so you can just assign numbers to that. So, okay, MSTR is going to have 1.1 million Bitcoins. Okay, cool. Bitcoin's going to cost $170,000. Okay, cool. MSTR's MNAV could go up to 1.9. Multiply that out. There you go. And then multiply it by number of shares outstanding or divide it by that. There you go. That's the math. So at some point, the thing is going to cost $1,000. Like it just is based on the math.
And your time frame is?
That's impossible to know. It's just like super hard because you could be like really conservative and I could be like within 6 years. And then literally we could have like a crazy blow off top where strategy gets to 950,000 Bitcoins. Bitcoin gets to like 180 grand and MSTR's MNAV shoots up to 3.1, which it's gotten up to 4 before. So like it could get to 2.7, 2.8, 3.1. Like it can get that high. And then all of a sudden you're like at $1,200, probably only for like a week or like for a couple days, but still it's like, oh, like that's pretty interesting.
100%. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's gonna get squeezed out like everyone is saying. Yeah, the bottom is not gonna form until Saylor is out. We squeeze him out or something. I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah,
It's
thanks so
impossible
much.
for that to happen. He's got 840,000 Bitcoins. Like I just don't even know how people like get to these conclusions. It's pretty nuts, but
Yeah,
yeah.
100%, man. But yeah, it's fascinating to always watch and have like for me every time I watch it as a trader because some of these moves are so telegraphed and the way he buys, you can really see that he's in the books. But that's very short term stuff. But let's see if $1,000 MSTR comes true. I hope it does because it'll help Bitcoin, and Bitcoin helps that as well. But yeah, Theo, thanks so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.